Ahoy hoy fellow bookworms, my name is Caroline and I like to read books, so let's talk about them. Today's video is going to be my September book haul, and this is the month where a bunch of my pre-orders arrive and I'm so excited about them. So I'll talk about them, and because there are quite a few books in this book haul and I've already read a few of them, I will talk about them in more detail in my wrap-up. This video is kind of just to show them off. First up, we have Reasons to Stay Alive by Matt Haig, which I actually ordered in August and it's only just showed up, which is super random, but oh well. I've actually already read this one and I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it made me emotional at times, but I was expecting it to kind of pack a bit more of a punch and stay with me longer after I read it, whereas it kind of just didn't. Next up, I got Furthermore by Tahara Murphy. I hope I'm saying her name right, but this is a book that I'd pre-ordered. It's a middle grade story about a colorless girl called Alice in a colorful world. There's magic and intrigue, and it just sounds really fun. I was hoping to read this earlier in the month and then review it, but I didn't really get around to it, but I will still be reviewing this when I read it, so stay tuned for that. Next up is another book that I pre-ordered, and it's Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, which is book 5 in the Throne of Glass series, and I just love this series so much. I loved this book. It's not my favorite of the series, but I did enjoy it, and I'm just gonna leave the link to my review wherever it goes in case you guys are curious. Also this month I bought 3 comic books. I bought volume 1 of Deadly Class, volume 1 of Sex Criminals, and volume 5 of Saga, and I've already read and enjoyed the 3 of these, and I'll just talk about them in my wrap-up video. At the same time as I bought those comic books, I bought 2 mangas. I bought volume 1 of Tokyo Ghoul and book 1 of Orange the Complete Collection, and I really liked Tokyo Ghoul, but the real star of this month was Orange. I finished this yesterday and I cried so much in it. Like, it made me really emotional. I loved it. I absolutely adored this book. I just started watching the anime as well, and next month I plan on buying the second concluding book in this series because I think it's amazing and I highly recommend it to everyone. Next up, I got Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare, which is book 1 in the Infernal Devices trilogy, and I've been kind of hesitant to pick up this series because I liked but did not love the Mortal Instruments series, but I've had a lot of people tell me that this is where Cassandra Clare really nails it. Apparently the writing and the plot is a lot better, and I've had a lot of people say that they prefer this to the Mortal Instruments series, so I'm actually really interested to read it. Next up, I got The School for Good and Evil, which is the story of Agatha and Sophie. One of them is a witch, the other is a princess, but then they go to the School for Good and Evil and end up enrolled in the opposite school, and it's just such a great story. I think this should be made into a Disney movie because it had this really great message throughout it, but it was also surprisingly dark and just really entertaining, and apparently it's a part of a series, and I'm definitely going to continue this series because I loved this book. Next up, I got Half the Sky, which is the next book for the Our Shared Shelf Goodreads group, and this book honestly just sounds like it's going to be awesome. This book is made up of a bunch of different women's stories, and the thing they all have in common is that they are extraordinary, and it's about these women in different parts of the world overcoming poverty and disease and conflict to go on to be something, and it just sounds like it's going to be really emotional and really interesting, so I'm excited to read it. The next book I got is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab, and I'm really excited to finally own this book because I've wanted to read it for ages, and finally this month it was cheap, so I bought it. But basically I have just heard nothing but good things about this book and the series that it's a part of. It's the story of a young magician in London who has the ability to travel between parallel universes, and he uses this ability to smuggle people when he goes and ends up getting caught and getting in trouble. He ends up on the run basically, and it just sounds like it's going to be really magical, really fun, really entertaining, kind of dark, but just awesome. It just sounds like something I'm really going to love. Next up, I got This Savage Song, also by Victoria Schwab, except this one is like a dark urban fantasy about humans and monsters and heroes and villains, and it just sounds like it's going to be awesome. I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about this book, which makes me super excited, but I just think it's going to be really interesting to read a story where the humans are potentially more monstrous than the actual monsters, and I'll be reviewing this when I finish, so stay tuned for that. Next up, I got Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I'm not gonna lie, as cool as the synopsis of this book sounds, I bought it pretty much because it was cheap and it has a really awesome cover. Like, look at that. Come on. This is like a sci-fi drama suspense book about this guy who is ambushed one day and injected with some weird liquid, and basically he wakes up in an unfamiliar room surrounded by unfamiliar people who smile at him and say welcome back, and I'm guessing the plot just goes from there. I don't really know anything apart from that, but oh boy, this just sounds like it's gonna be so much fun. The final book that I got this month is The Young Leets by Marie Lu, and I've been wanting to read something by her for a long time, and I've heard kind of mixed things about this, but I'm hoping that it's really good. I'm pretty sure the last book in this trilogy just came out, and it's been ages, or at least it feels like it's been ages, since I read a dystopian series, so fingers crossed that this is good. That's it for my book haul though, guys. So many books this month that I am excited to read. Also, just before I wrap up this video, I thought I would let you guys know that I will be doing a bookshelf tour soon, which a lot of people have requested, but the thing is, I've never done one before, so I have no idea how to go about it. So if you could just let me know down in the comments what you like to see in bookshelf tours, that would be really helpful. But basically just get excited because look how cool my shelves are. Anyway guys, I upload videos Wednesdays and Saturdays, so be sure to like and subscribe and stay tuned on those days for more bookish goodness. Toodaloo!